Hi, I'm Nathaniel, and this is what you need to know today. Boy, has it been a while, but it's time to talk about HUMBL again because we got some substance to talk about. And I do have some good news and I do have some bad news. So I really want to get the bad news out of the way first. But before I go any further, I have to tell you everything I talk about on this channel are my own thoughts and opinions. I am not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, please seek the advice of somebody else. I am, however, an electrician who just so happens to enjoy talking about stocks, but particularly I talk about HUMBL. That's what we talk about on this channel, and that's why you're here. So if you're joining me for the first time, make sure you listen to the very end. Things are going to start getting a little bit more interesting, I believe. It has been a very rough year for us investors, and me included, because of the downturn in the markets, and HUMBL's prices are really down there. So it's like I said, it's been a rough ride, but I was in this for the long haul. Many of you are too, and I'm hoping for a nice turnaround here in the coming year. So let's get right into the news and what's happening, because this is what you need to know today. All right, so we are expecting a 10-to-1 split, and this was the bad news. I just want to get, like I said, out of the way right away. This affects everybody, including me. So that means if you had 100 shares, you're going to have 10 shares. If you had 100,000 shares, you're going to have 10,000 shares. Okay, just so you understand what that means. So you are going to have less shares at the end of the day. It doesn't do us any good if the price stays down low and the company doesn't go anywhere either. They're reducing the B shares as well, equivalent to our shares. All right, so let's move on from there. What was the next thing I'd like to talk about? Well, B&M Authentics has now been purchased by HUMBL, and they are like a memorabilia type of company. And the CEO of that company is going to be helping HUMBL to start working on their marketing and things like that, and pushing forward not only the purchase of the company, but this is like a smart collaboration, you might say, because they're also going to be taking those team members are going to stay on board and continue to help HUMBL to grow and to achieve to that big company that Brian Foote and his team have always kind of aligned themselves with Apple and Google from the very beginning. So we will wait to see if that transpires or not, but in the meantime, where we are right now, so we're just going to deal with where we are. Okay, next thing I would like to talk about, and I'm going to be adding some things that I've been noticing, watching some other videos, some other YouTubers and other events and news that are happening around the world, and trying to get a bigger picture on what's happening. And I think timing is everything, and I think that it's important for us to understand that you have to be at the right place at the right time, and I believe we are. We are early, however, I do still believe that we are in the right place at the right time, and I'm still confident in my investment at HUMBL. I can't speak for the rest of you out there, but this is where we're at. Okay, so digital currency in 2023 launch. Okay, the launch of digital currency in 2023 is going to happen sometime between May and July. May and July 2023, we're going to have a United States digital currency. And this is not unique to the United States. Actually, a lot of countries around the world have already launched or rolled out their digital currency, or are planning to roll it out in 2024, 2023, and some have already, like I said, rolled it out. For example, China rolled out theirs. They have their digital currency already. But there's one particular country I'm going to talk about for this video, and that's Nigeria. So Nigeria, the government there has recently started to restrict consumers from taking out more than $45 US in value out of their banks. And the reason for that, the government there is wanting to get the citizens there of their country to start using digital currency. Less than 0.5% of the population there is actually using digital currency, but they want to start ramping that up in that country. And I like to mention, in addition to that, another interesting development, well, not so much an interesting development, but something I wanted to talk about from the past and bring it to current because it's still relevant. And that's one kiosk. One Kiosk is a large company like Amazon, but of Africa, okay? So they're a huge company and they're in Africa. So that would include, I would imagine, Nigeria as well. Didn't do the research on that, but if you want to look into it, I'm sure you could. But the point being here is that they're working with HUMBL, and HUMBL's going to be helping them facilitate that blockchain, authentication, all those type of things for One Kiosk. And in Africa, they're starting to want the citizens there to start using digital currency. Now, just a side note, and in case you forgot about this from another video I've done, the UN in 2030, they are expecting every country on the planet and everywhere around the world to be using digital currency. Does that mean that paper currency is going to be completely gone? We'll have to be there to know. However, it's a very real possibility because government is going to want digital currency. It's a way for them to track things. They can get, charge the taxes and things like that, that probably a lot of times people do things under the table and that money's never taxed, and as a result, the government misses out and the other people want to foot in the bill for other folks that are not paying their taxes properly. So for you though, that pay your taxes, you're probably not going to matter about this, but if you don't pay your taxes and you hide money from the government, you're probably not going to like what's coming, but you're not going to have much of a choice because the government's going to make you do it no matter what. So, and my understanding too is in Nigeria, they're actually charging their citizens a percentage for using cash because they also want to enforce the adoption of digital currency. So that's just one example, and no doubt the United States and other countries around the world are probably taking notice of what and how it's going to all transpire with Nigeria. Okay, so what else do we have? And we do have some big news here, so stay with me. So Tickery purchase should happen pretty soon. And why? Why should that happen? The completion of that purchase happen soon? Well, HUMBL just got funding, $20 million in funding. Oof, we've been waiting for this. Okay, this is a good sign in multiple levels. One thing, it's going to give HUMBL cash to grow their business and expedite that process. And they also needed to do that reverse split so they could get the funding. Okay, so all these things, they coincide. It was necessary. But the company that's providing this funding is an investment company that has a they only invest in companies that have a high potential and a small cap for startup business. So it's a good sign whenever a company loans this kind of money to a company that's a startup, because it means that they see the books, they see the potential. They say, hey, this is a company that's going to take our money and 3x it, 7x it, whatever, and grow. So this is definitely a huge positive. The point is, it's available to them. So they have that $20 million available as needed. And with the purchase of Tickery, the completion of that, that'll also provide funding and money, because no doubt there's a lot of money in tickets. There's a reason why they're going after the ticketing market, because it's going to provide cash flow, which is what HUMBL needs. Any company that's growing needs cash flow. All right. And that was the announcement that happened just today. So this is fresh right off the printer, you might say. All right, next thing, we have still the Santa Cruz, California thing that's been continuing to develop. They have made a deal with HUMBL. They're continuing the process of using, digital IDs and all that, licenses. These are all things in the future. If you're thinking about how the future is going to look, it's going to be digital. Think about how phones have progressed over the years. We used the flip phone, then you'd be able to text, then, you can send a picture to somebody, and now we're doing videos, in 4K and all this 8K, and be able to stream it across the planet. Okay, anyways, we're getting off track, but you can see what I'm saying. Technology is moving very fast. And so I like to be where the technology is at. All right, next thing, uplisting was mentioned in the last letter that was out today from HUMBL, and they are still planning on uplisting. I believe next year is their plan, so we'll have to wait to see on that. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into that, and I'm not an expert in that, so I'm not even going to go there. Okay, also, before the end of the year, they're going to be releasing their new platform, their new HUMBL platform, which is going to have a marketplace. It's going to have the NFTs, it's going to have the ticketing, all that on the platform. And Brian says it will be out before the end of the year. So we'll have to wait to see. And he said, etc. So we don't know what else is going to be on there. We'll just have to wait and find out. And he's very optimistic about 2023. He also acknowledged the fact that this year has been a rough year for the markets. And so any company that's trying to get funding or, use liquidity from stocks and stuff like that is going to be a challenge because all the markets are down and everything. But he said that 2023, he's very optimistic about it. And I agree with his optimism. And here's the reason why. Remember back I said about the United States starting to roll out will be rolling out their digital currency for the United States. That's going to be happening between May and July of 2023. Well, you're going to need a platform that is able to accept and utilize digital currency in the real world. So here's HUMBL going to be able to allow consumers to be able to use their HUMBL wallet to make purchases and pay. And now you have the business owner over here that can use the HUMBL platform to be able to make those transactions P2P, person to person, in the real world. So timing is everything. If they rolled this out last year, it may not have made a whole lot of sense to most consumers. So again, timing is everything. Also, there's going to be a 500-person closed loop social media launch here any day now, again, before the end of the year. So I don't know if I'll be one of those people that will get selected. Hopefully I will be, but we'll wait to see. But I'm sure somebody I know with HUMBL Nation will be selected. And with that social media thing, this is going to be verified. So this will be linked to your driver's license, everything. So it's not like these individuals are just going to be like random people or like bots that just go in and, create fake accounts and all this kind of stuff. No fake accounts, verified, backed by blockchain technology in a social media. I don't think there's anything else out there that's like this. This is going to be very unique, authentic, and I would say more trustworthy. I think that's the point where we're going with all this. And the last point, or the last 2 points I wanted to make, is that the 2030 agenda is for the world to be on digital currency. I know I already mentioned that, but I just want to mention it again because I just want to show the timeline on how long it might take for some of these things to roll out and be accepted in the normal public. So it's not like they're going to launch the digital currency and then overnight everyone's going to start using digital currency. No, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to be gradual, just like when credit cards first came out. People were skeptical about that. And then it took on, a little bit of time, and then boom, everybody has a credit card now, right? And the last thing I want to talk about is the FTX thing, okay? How does this relate to HUMBL? With HUMBL's wallet, you own your own keys. So you don't have to worry about somebody else controlling your wallet. You're responsible for your wallet because it's non-custodial. And so that's really important because it's decentralized as opposed to centralized like FTX. So I want to leave those thoughts with you. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know it's been a while, but I still invested in HUMBL, and hopefully this will prove to be beneficial for you watching, and you can make a good decision with your investments. I'm Nathaniel, and this is what you need to know today.